Welcome, grade 5, to another instructional video on math for this week. Last week, you learned about the place value, reading, writing, comparing, ordering, and rounding off of decimals. This week, we will continue our lessons on decimals. How will you add and subtract decimals? Do they have the same steps and rules with whole numbers, or are they different? Before we move on, let us remember this very important step in adding and subtracting decimals. Now remember, in adding and subtracting decimals, always write the decimals in a column. That means when you will write them down, you align all the decimals. So you don't need to align the numbers from right to left. Instead, align them according to the decimal point. Now, if you are confused about that, let's proceed to our lesson and learn as we go along. Now, let's learn first, how do we add decimals? Okay, so we have here an example. So we have 9,449 10,000ths plus 9,252 10,000ths. So what should we do to add these decimals? Like the whole numbers, you should add the digits from the right. In this case, we will add the digits on the 10,000ths place. So that is 9 and 2. So let us add 9 plus 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11. So write 1, and then since there are 2 digits, write the first digit above the thousandths place. So write 1, carry 1. That's how we do it. And then you continue. 1 plus 4 plus 5 equals 10. So 0, write 0 at the bottom and carry 1 since there are 2 digits. And then 1 plus 4 plus 2. So that is 7. Next, 9 plus 9. That is 18. So since there are 2 digits, so write only the second digit at the bottom and the first one at the top of the next digits. So that is 8, carry 1. Now, observe, there are decimal points aligned or written in column. So write also a decimal point on your answer, on the sum. Align, make sure that it is aligned with the decimal points of the addends. So that is decimal point before number 8. And then let's proceed. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So the final answer for this problem is 1 and 8,701 10,000ths. Now let's have another example. We have 6 and 7800ths plus 24 and 114 thousandths. Notice that 6 and 7800ths only has 2 digits after the decimal point. So it's not the same like 24 and 114 thousandths, in which it has 3 digits after the decimal point. So we learned last week that we can annex 0 if the space that needs it is on the rightmost side. So we will write or annex 0 beside 8. Remember, you cannot annex 0 if it's before the numbers, but only after the numbers or after the digits. So it will then become 6 and 780 thousandths plus 24 and 114 thousandths. So both of them now has thousandths place. So we can proceed with the addition. We have 0 plus 4 equals 4. 8 plus 1 equals 9. 7 plus 1 equals 8. And then you see the decimal point there. So put a decimal point in your sum. 6 plus 4 equals 10. So that is 0. Carry 1. And 1 plus 2 equals 2 or 3. So our final answer for 6 and 780 thousandths plus 24 and 114 thousandths is 30 and 894 thousandths. So that's for adding decimals. Now, if you are still confused, you may pause this video and go back and play it again until you understand. Do not proceed to subtraction until you understand addition. Now, if you are ready, let's proceed to subtraction. How do we subtract decimals? So we have an example. 1 and 1,417 10,000ths minus 0 and 8,268 10,000ths. Now, since this problem, when you look at the digits on top, some of the digits are lower than the digits at the bottom. So we need to regroup. If you remember how to subtract with regrouping. So we will borrow from other digits. So let's proceed. So we have the first digits at the right, 7 and 8. 7 minus 8 is, or 7 minus 8 cannot be, since 7 is lower or lesser than 8. So what we will do is we will borrow from the digit beside 7. That is 1. We will borrow 1. So you put 1 at the top of 7. So that then becomes 17. Do not add. 17. And then since we took 1 from 1, so 1 minus 1 equals 0. So crush out 1 and then put 0 on top. That means it is not 1 anymore, but it is now 0. So let's proceed. 17 minus 8, that is 9. Next, 0. So impossible to subtract 6 from 0. So once again, we will regroup, we will borrow. So we will borrow 1 from 4. So put 1 beside 0. Since you already replaced it with 0, so put 1 beside it. It now becomes 10. And 4, since we took 1, it will become 3. Because 4 minus 1 equals 3. So 10 minus 6 equals 4. And then we will proceed. 3 minus 2 equals 1. And then since 1 minus 8 is impossible, once again we will borrow from 1. So it will become 11. And then the 1, crush it out, it will be 0. Because 1 minus 1 is 0. So 11 minus 8 is 3. And there is a decimal point there. So you write the decimal point. And then 0 minus 0 is 0. So our final answer is 0 and 3,149 10,000ths. Now let's have another example, but this is easier compared to the first one. So we have 78 and 497 thousandths minus 56 and 235 thousandths. So again, we will start at the rightmost digits. So we have 7 minus 5 equals 2. 9 minus 3 equals 6. 4 minus 2 equals 2. Then write the decimal point. 8 minus 6 equals 2. And 7 minus 5 equals 2. So our final answer is 22 and 262 thousandths. Now do not forget to write the decimal point correctly, because when you leave out the decimal point, then the answer will be different. It will be read as a whole number. So it's very important to know when and where to write the decimal point. Again, important reminder, In adding and subtracting decimals, always write the decimals in a column or align them with each other in order to get the correct answer. I hope that you have learned something new for this week. Enjoy and goodbye.